Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the live stream. Please do let me know if there's any crackling on this end. We've had repeated problems with XSplit over the last few weeks, so the only way that I can tell is if you tell me. So please do let me know, and I will try and correct it before we actually get on with the game. Good, it's clear. Fantastic. Glad to hear that. Yeah, it's weird that it's caused by, honestly, like, it's caused on it's the same on two different audio interfaces, which indicates to me it is blatantly a problem with XSplit. So, I just think it hates Pro Audio Gear, which actually wouldn't surprise me in any way. I just need to make a couple of adjustments here, and then we can go live. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a single-player league, specifically for this live stream, and if this goes down well, I'll probably play the league exclusively on the live stream, like, over the next few weeks. So, that seems like something that might be kind of fun. It's an excuse for me to play Blood Bowl. It's always good. Let me just change. I just need to change my stream details on Twitch. There we go. Okay, sweet. That's that done. Let's just check that everything's registered on Twitch properly. Should be. Always got to check though. Yeah, we're currently not in the top 12 games on stream, but we will be. I'd like to put it past Devil May Cry and War Thunder and Call of Duty Black Ops. That would be nice. We'll see how we go. Alright, so let us talk a little bit about Blood Bowl, shall we? It's Blood Bowl Chaos Edition. If you've watched the introductory video, then you kind of know what's going on with it. The whole point of it, of course, is to play fantasy football, quite literally. And in this case, it also happens to have a few of the Chaos races. So we're going to create a new competition. Again, do let me know if there's any problems with the levels, because I'm kind of relying on you guys to let me know that. It's difficult to tell on this end. The meters on XSplit always lie. So if you think the game is too loud, then let me know and I can reduce it. Alright. So, hang on. I just want to check that the mixer on the Windows end is actually pulling it down as low as it's supposed to. It's actually not, so that would have been very loud very quickly. Alright, that's that adjusted. Great. Alright, so we're going to begin a campaign. So the team is going to be playing through multiple seasons. Apparently the music's a little loud. Yeah, actually, that's a point. Give me a sec. I used to have a kind of save levels where this was about 70%. There we go. Should be fine now. The main problem with Winamp is that you can only move the volume slider around in 2% increments, which means that like 3% is too loud, but 1% is too quiet. So you've got to adjust it in another way, which is a pain in the ass. There we go. So that should have been an adjustment for you. That should be fine. In-game sound I've already messed with. I'm not running in-game music because, quite frankly, they only really do it in between matches, and there's no actual music in the matches itself, so should be alright. Alright, we're going to play a Blitz campaign, because that's a bunch of additional rules, because people ask to see Blitz. I'm also playing this with the Community Content Pack, which is, for the most part, just a graphical overhaul. Campaign name is Stream. Difficult level medium, because medium is a bitch in and of itself. You don't want to play hard. Good God, you do not want to play hard. If there is any crackling, it's clearly on your end, because no one else is reporting it. Alright. Perhaps the most important part is, of course, the ability to choose your race. Which one shall we go for? Chaos is always fun. Chaos is kind of more fun later on, because the way that they start isn't actually that great. Like, they look really big and stompy, and they kind of are, but let me just show you. Annoyingly enough, you can't actually check the teams out before beginning the competition, so I can always just, like, go back and do another one. Let me show you why Chaos is kind of weak at the start, even though they look like they're really good. So, you've got... Chaos has basically got 3 types. You've got... These are your kind of basic guys, you Beastmen. So they've got pretty high movement, like decent movement value of 6 is not bad. They're otherwise really average stats, even their armor value is kind of average. Certainly higher than stuff like Skaven and things like that. And they've got horns, which means that they're really, really good on blitzing, but that's kind of about it. The thing is that, generally speaking, only one player, in fact always, only one player actually gets to blitz every turn, which means that you don't really want your general run-of-the-mill guys to have that skill. You want your stronger guys to have that skill. The specialized guys that are designed for that. So giving it to Beastmen actually makes no sense. Chaos Warriors have no skills at all to start with. Their armor's really good and they've got good strength, but they don't have block, which means they're much, much more likely to fall over in a blocking action, which is really bad. And then Minotaur. Also, I'm not showing you it. There you go. It's not like you actually need to see any of that. I explained it anyway, but it's sorted. Yeah, and then Minotaurs. Minotaurs are kind of okay. They're not awful. Like, as regards to the big guys, they're probably one of the best because wild animals not a terrible disadvantage. Mostly because if you're going to be attacking with them, then you have essentially a really high chance of making it work. Like 86% chance. Yeah, I mean, that's why Chaos is kind of bad at the start. They get a lot better later on when they start getting mutations and skills, but they kind of suck at the beginning. Plus, if you want to play Chaos, there's actually 3 other options to play a Chaos team that is arguably better. So, let's just quit out of this and set up a new... That's not a competition we're looking for. Set up a new campaign. Blitz rules, stream, yeah. I was thinking of playing Nurgle, actually. Nurgle are hilarious. Nurgle is another Chaos team. They have some... Yeah, they're pretty difficult to deal with. I'll show you what they can do before we consider which team we're going to play. So Nurgle actually have 4 kinds of troops instead of 3. Nurgle Rotters are your basic guys. But if you look at them, the funny thing about Nurgle Rotters is they're just as good as Beastmen, sort of. But they have higher armor value. They're actually, I think, cheaper than Beastmen. They have slightly less movement. And they have Nurgle's Rot, which, like, spreads disease everywhere. They do also have Decay, which is a bit of a bastard. You roll twice on the casualty table, so these guys are going to die a lot. But they're also really cheap to replace. Pestigores, which are... These are actually Beastmen, quite literally. They just have... extra abilities, Nurgle's Rot and Regeneration. Like, these guys are going to keep getting up over and over again. They're a total pain in the ass to deal with. Nurgle Warriors, disturbing presence and foul appearance, which means anyone that tries to, like, actually do anything against them, it just doesn't work half the time, which is kind of fun. Essentially, when you try and block a player, if you roll a 1, it just fails to even connect. It's pretty hilarious. And then Beast of Nurgle. Beast of Nurgle is not so good. I don't know, I mean, it's okay. It's got tentacles, which means that trying to get out of the tackle zone of this thing is a nightmare. But of course, it's really slow, so it's not going to be doing that a lot anyway. It's also got regeneration, so it's really hard to kill. But it's also really stupid, which means if you roll a 1 to 3, if it doesn't have a smart teammate standing next to it, then it doesn't do anything. So Nurgle, nah. They're kind of funny, though. God, I wish you could view the teams. Like, that's a big thing I've got with it, the number of clicks you've got to do to actually go and view a team. And actually really have a look at what its guys are capable of before you pick it. Chaos Dwarf is the one I usually play, which is the reason I'm not going to play him now. I really, really like Chaos Dwarves. I think they've got an excellent mix of players, and they let you do a lot of different stuff. They allow you to be a bashy team, but with a really good, strong runner. Plus, like, all of your main guys, like your 6 Chaos Dwarves have block by default, which is super good. That's a point, actually. Someone mentioned exhibition mode might be a good way to look at the teams. I may take some suggestions from the chat, but I want people to know what they all do first. This is exhibition mode. This allows you to choose pre-made teams. It's not the best way of doing it, but you can see a lot of the different stuff that they've got. Like, that's an Orc team. Orc teams are really, really good for beginners. They're bashy, but they're still pretty good in different ways. As you can see, they've pre-made a bunch of teams. Corn Demons are these are new to the game. You get Pit Fighter Cultists, Bloodletter Demons, Corn Heralds, and a Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster is actually kind of silly. He's like, Juggernaut, Claws, and Horns. Yeah. So, in other words, it's an automatic armor breaker on a roll of 8 or higher. He gets extra strength when he blitzes. He's a wild animal, which means that the disadvantage is unlikely to happen because all he's going to be doing is fighting. So it's a 2+ roll to make him do anything. Loner kind of sucks, but that's pretty common for big guys. He regenerates. He's got Frenzy, which means he gets to smack him again if you get pushed or Defender stumbles. It's insane. the weird thing is that, like, all of these actually have horns, which means, like, they're all kind of designed for blitzing in mind, which is kind of weird. Pitfighter cultists are pretty good by default because they have Frenzy, although that does, like, increase the number of chances of turnovers, so, yeah, it's pretty insane. Underworld is sort of weird. It's a mix of Skaven and Goblins, but they kind of argue. That's the funny thing. Skavens don't actually like Goblins, which is why the whole thing makes no sense. So there's this disadvantage here called Animosity, which means that on a roll of a 1, trying to hand off or pass to someone that's not your race, they'll just flat out refuse to do it. And they'll only pass to someone that's their race. They're not bad. I mean, Skaven Blitzers are pretty solid, although they do only have strength of 3, which is not ideal. Warpstone Troll is fairly hilarious. You can pick up goblins and try and throw them to the other end of the field with them, but there is a chance that the troll will eat the goblin, meaning that you lose your teammate. But it's hilarious. Are they top tier? No. Are they hilarious? Definitely. You want to see, like, someone that's really freaking tough and irritating? Khemri. Fucking Khemri. Oh, Jesus. You know what? You can have 4 guys with strength 5. 4 guys! And they have regeneration! They have regeneration! So taking them off the field is stupidly difficult. It's ridiculous. And it's like, it sounds fine. If decay sounds like a good disadvantage, until you realize that good luck throwing a decent block against anything with strength 5 that's standing next to another guy with strength 5 and an armor value of 9. God, horrible. But, you know, unfortunately they don't really have good ball handling skills. I mean, throw-rars are fine, but you don't have a lot of them. They've got pass and sure hands, which is okay, but their agility's still only 2, which is bollocks. It's really, really bad. Even skeletons have regeneration, so they're a super hard team to bring down. Really, really hard. Let's have a look at some of the other ones, and then we'll make a decision. Elf teams. Like, all elf teams are really, really good at ball stuff, but they're also, like, pretty good at fighting. Mostly because they have war dancers, which, like, yeah, we're just gonna smack the crap out of you. They have ridiculous movement of 8. God. And they have block, dodge, and leap by default, so good luck ever locking an elf team down. You've pretty much just got to keep punching them in the face until they stop. Dark elves are nice. They have ball handling as well, but they also have, like, witch elves have a lot of fight in them. Mostly because of frenzy dodge and jump up as well. It means they can get back up and immediately move a lot more. It's... yeah. They're pretty good. Also, their linemen don't have block by default, but they can very easily learn it, so they're okay. Good armor value as well across the board for Dark Elves. Pretty good team. I believe they're missing something there. I'm pretty sure there are other variants of the Dark Elves. Oh yes, of course, Dark Elf Assassins. As you can see, they can stab people. They look something like this. That's what Dark Elf team looks like. I thought they had like a Hydra or something as well. I'm just seeing if any of these teams actually have the Hydra in them. Or maybe I'm thinking of something else. I might be thinking of something else. Ah, yes, goblins. Yeah. These teams are just silly. These are bottom tier teams for a very good reason. They have a bunch of secret weapons like the Bombardier. Last time I tried to use a Bombardier, on his first attempt to throw a bomb, he killed himself. Quite literally killed himself. Goblin Pogoers, Fanatics. These guys, Chainsaw Guy, these guys get sent off, essentially, after the first set of turns, because they're using things that aren't allowed in Blood Bowl. And then you got 2 trolls, which are pretty bashy, but everyone else is kind of not bashy at all. So you've really got to capitalize on their ability to use secret weapons in the first, do as much damage as possible before they get sent off. But they're considered tier 3, like they're considered a really bad team, and for very good reason. They're actually awful. Not as awful as these guys. Ah, halflings, yes. Halflings are dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. You want to see why? Yeah, armor value 6. They're not even fast. Like, this is the dumb thing. They're not even fast. They're slow, fat, completely useless. Their stats are terrible. They have dodge, right stuff, and stunty, yeah. That's great. Except if your agility's not that good, and your armor value is really, really low, you can't fight anything. You basically have to rely on tree men. Yeah? And tree men do have some problems. They're pretty good, but yeah, the halflings aside from that are just absolutely dreadful. But tree men are awesome. They're so strong. Alright, you know, we've spent kind of a long time looking through stuff. Norse werewolves, yeah. The Norse are pretty great, actually. Like, they're a really, really good team. Linemen have block by default, which makes them excellent. Pretty much everyone has block, actually, so everyone on this team can fight. And they also have werewolves, which have frenzy. I think they're the only ones that actually don't by default have block. So Norse are alright. I want to play someone interesting. You want to hear something interesting? Vampires. Freaking vampires. These guys randomly don't do shit because of bloodlust. On a roll of 1, they must feed on blood instead of doing anything useful. Like, their stats are amazing. They're like 4, 4, 8, 6. That's incredible. But they randomly try and eat people. Which is not very good. Which is why I'm very tempted to play them, because it would be hilarious. I believe they can only have vampires and thralls. Thralls are like bog standard run-of-the-mill. But vampires, yeah, vampires are kind of funny. I'm tempted to play vampire. I really am. Should we play vampire? Let me know in the chat if you think that we should play vampire. It sounds kind of funny. I mean, I don't really want to play Goblin because I won't be able to put on a good match for you. Because it'll be terrible. Vampire sounds kind of fun. Unless there's a consensus to play any other team. Norse is good. I mean, you can be a straight-up good team with Norse. Someone mentioned Necromantic. Necromantic's actually kind of fun. Necromantic has a lot of different types of player. They have zombies. They have ghouls. Ghouls have dodge, which is really, really nice. Like, they're great runners, but they don't have... Well, they've got okay ball handling. They've got agility 3, so that's not too bad. Whites, yeah. I wouldn't mess with a white. The funny thing about this team is, like, they've got a lot of really fast stuff. Werewolves are just ridiculous. Like, they've got movement speed of 8, which makes them one of the fastest players in the game. They've got strength 3, agility 3, and armor value 8, but they also have claw, frenzy, and regen. So, yeah, Necro's pretty good. This is what Necro looks like. As you can see, they have flesh golems there. I mean, they're overall actually not a bad team at all. They are pretty good. Zombies. Yeah, I don't think there's any other types for them. You can see the lineups there. But yeah, Necro are good. Well, there's no real consensus in the chat at this point. So it's... I think we should do exactly what Blood Bowl encourages, which is to roll a dice. We're gonna roll a dice. Okay, I'm gonna find a... Just give me a second. I'm gonna write down 6 teams, and then we're gonna roll a d6. And that will be the team that I play for this season. I'll put goblins in there just because it's funny. And if I roll goblins, I'm gonna hate you forever. So a roll of 1 is goblins, yeah? Roll of 2 is vampires. Roll of 3, Norse. Roll of 4, necromantic. What were the other suggestions from the chat? A lot of lizard men. Number 5 is lizard men. Okay. Some people are... We're not putting humans in. Humans are the most boring thing in the world. I wish there was actually just a random team button. That would be pretty good. So, who's number 6? Subscribers can chat to let me know. I've already got lizard men in there. So it's goblins, vampires, Norse, necromantic, and lizard men are the choices right now. Let's see what the subscribers have to say. Demons. A lot going for corn demons. Some were dark elf. Vampires is already on the list.